good evening. It's the time of day for me anyway. How's everybody doing? So today I have an interesting topic. It may come unexpected, but I've been watching this YouTube channel. I did not subscribe to it. I checked because it looked like a really familiar channel. But what it was, what's it called here? Let me double check to make sure I got the name of it right. The Minimal Mom. So her and her husband have this YouTube channel going on. Looks like they're into minimalizing and decluttering and things like that. I think I have listened to them before. That's why it looks so familiar. What she says here. So it's Tom and Don once again. Just saying, Tom and I are divorced. This sucks. Now, there's lots of, I guess you could say, social media sensation on this very topic. This has 1 million views. I'd probably be lying if I say I wasn't jumping on the bandwagon a little bit, but no, I truly am interested in this topic as it relates to Christian marriages. What is the cause of so much failure being like a normalcy now? Now, on one hand, since we've kind of normalized divorce, and I've gone through not just one but two divorces, although can I preface and say only one really feels like it kind of counts, but I know in actuality they both do. First one, we were just so young, and there's a lot to it that I don't even want to talk about or mention. Probably for good reason. I don't want to tick anybody off too. What did we last? We even lasted 3 years on that first one. Maybe 2 or 3. I mean, there was my obstinate just going forward, even though I probably had no business doing that. Among other things, probably, but we tried. And then 5 years later, there was a 5-year period, I think it was, when I got remarried to a lovely gal, and that lasted 15 years. That one did not work out either. I seemed like the opposite kind of a person in a lot of ways, personality profile wise. Excuse me. I didn't want to bring up my stuff again so much, but I may end up doing it just to relate to this whole dynamic and not. I do kind of want to make it about Tom and Dawn. In some ways I don't, because I don't know their situation. I didn't want to dig into all their details to pull them out. Although I admit I did listen to some stuff that was maybe someone kind of mediating between their individual side of the story, because he also gave his side of the story on his channel. So once again, it's The Minimal Mom. Her name is Dawn, and then there's his channel, and it's Rusty Judgment. His name is Tom, and his channel's name, once again, is Rusty Judgment. He did put out his side of the story, but he did end up taking down the video. And even that was some controversy. Why did he take it down? Was he pressured to take it down? Things like that. Which, and then there's this whole thing, because she got like 1 million views, is she monetizing this whole divorce thing? Either way, I kind of tend to believe her when she say it sucks. It probably does, I remember that. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm viewing it and I kind of see where people are coming from, maybe with some of their perspectives on monetizing this whole experience. Honestly, even though it's been since 2017, even I had the thought, I don't mean any disrespect, or just maybe disrespect isn't the right word, but I didn't mean any weirdness, but I even had the thought of maybe approaching my ex and saying if she wanted to talk about stuff on YouTube, even as it relates to me. But wouldn't that be quite the vulnerable position to put yourself in for either one? But what if you could do it amicably? Even then, it would be kind of a hard pill to swallow. Maybe some of the perspectives each of us has towards the other, if we really made ourselves be, I don't know, could you even be honest? At first, there's the short distance in time from your divorce, and now there's been so many years, I almost wonder if our perspectives haven't changed, even our own perspectives. But Yeah, it's just that she had her perspective, and then Tom had his own video, and kind of felt like, I think he was mostly respectful, I thought, throughout the video, and didn't want to put her in a bad light. But I think one time he was kind of honest from his own perspective, and then said, well, her perspective in her video was that, she thought we've tried everything and gave every counseling approach, a good try, and we tried everything, and his thought was that wasn't true. He didn't say, I don't think that's true. He just said, Don isn't being truthful or something along those lines. A little more personal anyway than just saying, I think that's not the truth. I think he said it respectfully as much as he could, but he kind of made it a little bit like, that's not the truth. But other than that, I thought he carried a pretty fair and balanced, even keel approach. I thought they both had a little smirk on their face. I don't think that takes away, because I think personally, well, I might for some people, honestly, but I think some people just, that's their coping mechanism. So I would give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. I didn't really want to make this all about them, although the title of my video is going to probably lend itself to that. I think I finally did come up with the title to my video, though. What is it? Tom and Don's divorce is going to be part of it. And I may change some of it. But I think we can all relate to this culture, or maybe not relate, I don't know, to this culture that we're in, Christian or not, where we have the no-fault, irreconcilable differences type of divorce. And I'm not going to really harp too much on that in one regard. So what do you want it to be? I mean, do you want it to be that you have to get into the nitty-gritty on why you want a divorce? Now, in all fairness, I did see one comment, and I don't remember which video it was under. Probably hers would be my guess. It's probably the one she just released. Tom and I are divorced. This sucks. 1 million views so far. And that's only 3 days ago. I think I've seen a comment that says, unfortunately, this is a trend where women put in all this emotional investment into the marriage, especially more towards the beginning, perhaps. And men see it too late, do too little, too late. Anyway, in response to that, any corresponding action or any, I always forget this word when I'm on video, but I remember it well and clear when I'm not. I just wish people would reciprocate, because I had to put it in my own terms to remember it, because I wish people would reciprocate. But see, no, the man does too little, too late when it comes to reciprocating some of those efforts. And maybe it's not reciprocating that's actually the issue here. But I think in some instances, it certainly would be that the investment is not recognized, or it's just not adding up to what it needs to in the end. And by the time the man kind of catches on that he needs to, change course or behavior, whatever, change his heart better than behavior, whatever reaction he needs to make, it's too little, too late. I think that deserves some credibility on the part of whoever made that comment. I think that does tend to resonate. I don't think that's the end game, and maybe I'm giving too much credit to the woman in that instance. I don't know. I think it's, though, fair to have some empathy that perhaps is their feeling. And I think I resonate with that from seeing it from my former spouse's perspective. I just don't want to sell the farm and say, you're off the hook because I was just a-hole or whatever, and I didn't see it. I mean, there's some accountability left, even with having recognized that. But I'm not here to actually hold anyone to account per se, other than as a Christian community. Oh, it's really kind of a weight and balance thing, because you could get into restoring marriage and its institution and its sovereignty, maybe that's not the right word, the seriousness of it and the weight of it, and not letting people off the hook so easily. But then, where's the empathy and how much people suffer in this institution ordained by God? How can that be? I don't know, I guess Moses was allowed to account for divorce because of the hardness of people's hearts. Is that what it comes down to, even when we kind of want to empathize and understand where people are coming from? Realizing before you think, I'm judging everyone here, I've been through 2 divorces. Okay, I want to mention that again. So I don't think it keeps me from speaking. In fact, it may do the opposite. I may be able to speak on this matter. If only I had something to say. I certainly should have something to say, given the amount of pain that it caused in my life. But still, what is there to say? You kind of toughen up in some areas. You grow, you develop, and you move on. Or maybe I haven't moved on. Why am I talking about it? Well, I think there's growth, and there's some aspect of remembrance. And you see this video, Tom and I are divorced. You look at it, you realize, I think they're like a Christian couple, and they seem to have some amicability, but apparently there was some problems. And I don't want to enter the realm of gossip, or is that too late already? It just seems like there are some unresolved issues, but they had their YouTube channel, and it seemed to be genuine, a connectedness there between them, at least how they presented themselves on camera. I don't believe it was fake. I think they flowed well together from the little I did see. And no, I did not see that I subscribed to either one of them. I thought maybe I had, because I've subscribed to a lot of channels, and if it looks like the type of content I might enjoy, but for some reason or another, they're only a familiar face. I think I have seen them before, and they made a cute couple, but they are no longer a couple. They are officially divorced. I'm just trying to weigh this empathy that we do have, this understanding heart, with the seriousness of divorce and the pain that it causes people. And do we enter into this marriage agreement a little too lightly? Maybe it's in the back of our mind that we have a way out. And maybe that's healthy to some extent, because what if there is abuse? And we don't want to be held to that. Of course not. Why was there a time and a place where marriage was held in more esteem? Is it just old-fashioned values? Have we progressed past those? Or have we de-evolved in some way, even with our progressing and our more understanding hearts towards people? What is actually the pain? What is some of the more underlying things that get overlooked? Even though we don't want to be judgmental, I don't either. It just seems like there's some missing ingredients, even if we don't want to look at the people specifically. As a culture, whether Christian or any other religion, or even a secular approach, but yet we're looking at good people, whoever they are, whether it be Tom and Don, or me and my former spouse, or, one of the things that led me towards an interest in what divorce could look like in a positive context was one of my former pastors, or my pastor, I should say, not my current one in Sioux Falls, but he went through a divorce with him and his wife, and he did kind of have like a social media presence concerning that divorce, and it was all like respectful, honoring, kind, I think it even has some empathy. Some people would disagree with it, but I found it kind of like, I don't wish the divorce happened sooner, okay, but had I seen something like this sooner, I would have known going through my divorce, maybe how to approach things from a social media perspective. I don't think I ever posted like mean comments or things. I certainly didn't really tweet. I said things that were probably a little off-putting, but never direct, maybe a little vague posting. But no, the way he went through it, some people would strongly disagree even. And I even had that instance where people would disagree with me over some of that stuff. But I found it kind of refreshing to at least to see, okay, so I know there's a divorce. What can be gained? Appropriate insight, nothing too detailed, but what can we learn from this, and what, by example, because you can talk all you want, sort of vague language, but when you see someone going through it and they're expressing some things that are hard to express, it's a tough pill to swallow going through this, but yet he somehow managed to present the divorce almost like a progressive story, all the way up to him finding his new love. And I do believe he's engaged. No, I'm not doing anything quite like that, but I guess I'm sorry, keep hitting the mic. I'm just looking at this story here. It seems a little similar, but it doesn't seem. This does seem maybe a little more, I don't want to say it's for views, but it certainly is getting views. But she has like 822K subscribers. Now, why am I doing this video? I don't know. I have to question that too. I did think it might generate, maybe some people would be interested in this. It might get some viewership. It might not. It might get 4 views. It might get 1,000 views or more. I don't know. I have no idea. My videos really vary in what people are willing to listen to. And even if I got 4 minutes into the video, but I got it, 1,000 views. I mean, I would like that. And if she got views out of this, I'm not judging her for that. I know that's controversial. I mean, people putting their stuff out there for views, whether it really is for the actual views or not. I guess I have to give the benefit of the doubt, like I said, that she said it was painful and it sucks. I take her word for that. I might not necessarily resonate with her specific personality, but it looks like to me like the typical high-functioning Christian woman, a pillar in the community type of thing. I kind of feel that, I have that sense that she get along with a lot of people. And I'm just wondering, I admit I sometimes wonder this culture that we create within Christendom. Sometimes I wonder how much different it really is than like the secular culture. And if there is a divorce, it seems like I got some support as a male. I think there's plenty there, to be honest. If I think a little deeper, I do actually wonder, but some of that's on me to get the support I need to. Some of that's on me, and it is available. You can find it if you want it. And sometimes you don't want to be in a men's group with men griping about women. That could be a toxic environment for you if you want to continue liking and loving women and looking at them favorably and not hear a ton of horror stories. I know they're out there. I want to believe, not just in their heart, but in my heart, I can create this space for healthy love and devotion to my future spouse. I say that in faith. Or if I have to leave space, also I do believe for, and this may be true for you, you find that you have to leave space in your heart for singlehood and the chance of meeting someone new, or whatever God wants to reconcile. I'm not really thinking spouse so much. I wouldn't totally rule it out. maybe there's someone you met and it didn't work out, and it wasn't a marriage, or didn't go to that point yet. Maybe you have friends and here's some loose ends and you don't know when they're coming back around or if they ever will. Or maybe God will have someone totally new in the works. I don't know where it's going for me exactly, but I do have to be in a position where my heart's able to receive. And I would encourage you also to just take the time to know where your heart is. And well, if you know where it is and you know darn well where it is, and we don't want to be better. We want to receive what's best. I do believe it does say it's not good for man to be alone, but it also has other scriptures where Paul kind of recognized the value of singleness as it relates to doing the Lord's work and things like that. You have more time to just not worry about what family matters, I guess you could say, as it relates to your wife. But he was married, his heart has to be on the things concerning his marriage. Where is this going? I know there's just a host of dynamics you could pull from, and it's almost confusing. There's so many things to pull from, but it's really not that confusing, I guess. If you just want to realize a simple fact that God loves you and he's got a lot of things, positive things in store, even if it is singlehood, and even if that does sound, what's the word I'm looking for? Not quite daunting. It might seem daunting that you're going to be single or married again. I mean, that's probably a better example of what could be daunting, really. Even if you want it again, and what's your heart going to get yourself into next, Oh, excuse me. I just do pray, though, that, Lord, we just take time to pause, and we know our hearts have been in trouble. We know we've had some time to recuperate, for healing, for restoration within the heart itself. I mean, my relationship isn't restored. I mean, we're in talking terms sometimes, off and on. I was at a similar situation that year. I mean, I didn't say enough about my situation to really speak to its similarity to yours, but you get the basic idea. There's a Christian couple in the ministry. Technically this is a ministry. I think all she does, well, I'm not gonna say all she does, but it seems like the gist of her YouTube channel is about decluttering and, what's it called here? Being minimalistic, maybe less is more type of a vibe. I'm not sure. I watched some of their stuff, but not a lot. Just enough to kind of get a feel for what they were like. They had a really good online presence to them. And she pointed out that, reiterated the fact it wasn't fake. She really enjoyed their time on the camera together and what he brought to the table. Fortunately, even though they tried just a number of different therapeutic techniques or whatever, going to different counselors and trying different marital things that should help the marriage, nothing worked, in her words. Now, the thing that got brought up in a lot of these dialogues online is that he says, did I already mention this? He says that I've done 2 videos. I've done another video and I decided not to upload it. He said that Don wasn't telling the truth, essentially, or that's a lie. And he said it as respectfully as he could, but he didn't preface it with, I think Don is not being truthful. He just flat out said Don is not being truthful. And I do find it interesting from a psychological or sociological perspective when 2 people disagree, especially in something richly dynamic like a marriage or even a platonic or even a business relationship. There's always going to be like these 2 perspectives. And it's rather unclear how that intersects. But I think each person has so much clarity within their own perspective. Is it possible you have too much clarity, and that clarity is your own lens? And that's why things are the way they are, is you're so dang sure of your own perspective being what it is. But on the other side of that, let's say you weren't, and you were this really empathetic person, and you felt what the other person was going through with their perspective, and you took on their perspective of how they felt about you, then it gets clouded possibly in that way that you almost lose yourself because you're giving in to their perspective when it's not truly your own. That gets into some kind of icky and weird dynamics. I think we have to just not brush by and say, I think that's actually something. Each person has their own unique perspective, and in a sense, their own sovereignty. And I'm certainly not wanting to normalize divorce. In fact, depending on where this video goes, I could hammer on the impacts, how negative divorce is on the human existence and heart. And even as a nation, enough marriages, fail through divorce. And I think we've got ourselves a problem. Could it even be a national security risk in some ways? You get enough crumbling of society because marriages aren't working, Of course, that seems like our structure has been restructured enough where it's more the individual now, perhaps. Or maybe there are families that form a strong bond with communities, but it doesn't seem to be the marriages anymore as much. They still certainly do exist, but what about the less successful, the less, people that have lots of money? I'm not saying that money solves marital issues, but if you look at it though, it seems like money is kind of a problem with marriages. And I guess it could be because of either way, poverty or abundance. I don't know. It's all a matter of the heart. I have to give credit to these people. It seems like they went through a valid struggle and just couldn't make it work. But we still call it, can I call it failure? Can I do that and not be a judge? I mean, my marriage failed. We can say the word, it failed. It did not hold up. Their marriage failed. Am I holding that in judgment? I just want to call it for what it is, which is kind of two things. I mean, we want to give the empathy. They gave it their best shot. It's kind of the afterthought is, oh, did they really? But I could do that for myself too, or my marriage. But what use is it now? It's already failed. So I'm grateful that God's grace covers all that stuff, but I'm also a little heavy, and I don't want to lie. I mean, I'm kind of over the heaviness already. My heart is almost numb to it, but there's still a lingering heaviness on where we are as a culture, Christian or not. How many marriages or relationships actually work or have a chance of working? And then we see this, but it is real, and so I guess we do want to see it, don't we? That's why there's so many views. I guess if you're engaged and are looking into getting married, I don't want to discourage anyone, but know the seriousness of your vows and know if this is compatible, and I guess take any premarital counseling you can get and understand the implications. I don't want to take this as a lesson learned and look at this. I mean, you can look at me, all you have to do is look around. It's just like I don't know, it's the nature of our culture. We've kind of normalized divorce, and it's nice in one regard that we can just say irreconcilable differences, a no-fault divorce. That's nice. I'm glad glad she didn't have to prove anything, but it probably was about as truthful as it could be. Irreconcilable, at least within the terms of the law. What am I saying? I don't know, do we make it too easy on ourselves? Are we too empathetic? Or, I don't know. I think I like to see that there. I don't want to see it go away. It's not like I desire to be judgmental towards people that have been through divorce or be more judgmental towards myself. Certainly the grace of God is available, and more than available, it's actually wanting to reach each and every one who has gone through this circumstance. I just want people to understand the weight and the implications are still there. If I say God hates divorce, maybe that kind of triggers people in the wrong way, and I don't want to do that, but he does, and I understand why he does. And certainly there are reasons why people do need to get out, and that's valid. But I think so is the missing the mark and the weight of everything, regardless of giving it your best shot. Where am I going with this? I just feel there's the overwhelming grace of God that overarches all this stuff. So in a sense, everything I'm saying is kind of neither here nor there in one sense, because his grace does cover it. In fact, at the same time, guys, divorce is not to be taken lightly. And furthermore, marriage is not to be taken lightly. And I guess I feel as a Christian, when that movie Fireproof came out, I probably did not take it seriously enough. Let me take a drink. I think I did feel the weight of it to some extent and the somberness within my heart. But I think there was a portion of my heart that probably even mocked the movie a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be that difficult or hard, or you don't need to put forth that much forbearance to make it work. It should just work because you love each other, and that's enough. But apparently it wasn't. So, guys, I just don't know what else to say. There is an impact that we all feel when culture as such presents itself as such, with all the empathy in the world still intact, and we love each other and we give each other room to grow. We give ourselves distance from each other, space and grace, because there's really no other option when someone wants to leave you, or when you see a couple separating. You may want to talk them into reconciliation, and maybe in some instances you may have a role to play in that. If so, go for it, but you have to know in your heart. Yeah. It's my heart's desire that there could be reconciliation. It may not be within the timing that we want. When I'm speaking here about not necessarily my situation, but people that are in the midst of a difficult marriage, but it's just a matter of personal growth and not abuse taking place. No, maybe, I don't know where this couple stood. I did hear that he had a problem with, he grew up in a household that yelled, so that lends itself to maybe thoughts that he was verbally abusive. I don't know. With that being said, since I don't know their exact details, we just know that as a culture, we're getting too accustomed, though, to divorce, separation, things not working out. I mean, what's going to turn the tide? Will it ever be turned? Or mankind always perpetuate itself on this cycle of forming relationships, breaking up? Is that just how it is throughout the duration of our existence? I guess so, but it's kind of a sombering thought. Happily ever after seems to be a little more, I guess, a fairy tale mindset. But I think that does exist for some people. It seems like the former generation had that a little more figured out. course, do I want to revert to their mindset, even if that's what it took? I don't know. I do want to take my vows very seriously, and the next person I do marry, assuming that's what takes place, and that's what's in store for me. I don't think the script is necessarily written, but I want to cooperate with whatever is in place. Whatever is kind of lending itself towards walk this path, go this direction, guidance, principles to live by. I don't know, I have to leave room in my heart for finding the right person, or the right person finding me. Maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it, but when that moment comes, hopefully you'll be aware of that moment, okay? But I also have to leave room in my heart, leave space in my heart that there could be a situation where I'm just single. But God knows the desires of my heart, so I think He would meet them, but it may not be as quickly as I would like, because there's free will. There's dynamics at play. Where is this person right now, assuming they do exist? How are they going to get from where they're at to where I'm at, or how am I going to get to where I'm at to where they're at, and all the logistics that have to take place for two people to meet each other organically, or even in a dating app if that's what it comes to. But I don't know, I feel like I've done some of those, and I've met some people, which right now lends itself to me just wanting to try organic for a little bit, but that hasn't worked out so great either. But I have met someone organically too, but it hasn't formed like a relationship. I mean, they know who I am, I know who they are. We kind of thought about it. Yeah, I don't know where that's going to go, but I don't want to be obsessed with thinking about, is something, this relationship going to work one way or another, even if it was just a friendship. There's just lots of things that we as a people would like to know. We got to create our space for just a healthy mindset, good mental health, and moving on with our lives in the most healthy way possible. I know maybe that's what Dawn is doing. Maybe that's what Tom is doing. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that I know they made a very concerted effort. Was it everything it should have been? I guess that's not for me to decide for sure. I mean, I'm not even sure if it's up to them to decide. They are going to inevitably decide at some point when enough is enough and when too much is too much. Whether they drew the line in the right place, that's still for them to decide, but whether or not they can accurately make that choice is maybe a little bit subjective or up to them. I'm sad to see them separate, even though I don't even know them. I only heard about their separation. I think I did see a little of their channel, even though I never subscribed, because like I said, it looks really familiar, like I've seen this couple before. I know, it just seems, I don't want to use the word typical, but I see within Dawn the figure of, like I said before, a woman of high standing and high regard. And there's so many of these types of people in our communities. They're pillars. So is the man, either in her shadow or vice versa, I suppose. And it just doesn't work. I don't know. Since God's grace is with them, maybe there should be less speculation and less surmising. But I still have to ask why, even to garner for myself maybe any answers to questions, even though in some sense I don't even believe in answers to questions. It's kind of like embrace the mystery. This one's a little harder to just embrace because we want to learn what we can so our next relationship is better. But whatever you learn from that, I mean, there could be a totally unique relationship that's next, and maybe it's too unique to repeat. But you don't want to repeat negative patterns, but you don't want to perpetuate a situation where you learn something maybe that's not meant for the next healthy pattern that's going to be there. I don't know, I think I did a little better in my first video actually, but I erased it. Thing is my focus was off, and eventually it just focused like on that light bulb back there. And I know I did say some really cool things, but I deleted it. I didn't like it. Just because of that alone. Now at least I'm focused on my face. But what about my words? Are my words in focus? We feel kind of is it contingency? Kind of like the conflicts of interest that are between grace and making a good judgment, as opposed to being judgmental, making a good judgment on how to form a healthy relationship. Even if it is based on what doesn't work, because you see what hasn't worked in the past, how can we improve our relationships, and what can we do to fireproof our marriage, and what can we... it's not all behavior modification, but I suppose there might be a certain element to that. Our hearts need to change in this regard. So it's more than just behavior modification there. Lord help us. I know that divorce sucks. I know that you can be in the middle of a lonely marriage, and I know that can suck too. It can be awfully lonely in that particular situation, whatever you're in. You could be even in the middle of a healthy marriage, and maybe there's some element that's missing, even a small, little, tiny, ever so small puzzle piece. And you don't want it to unravel anymore, but it's just that small thread that just, every little by little, just keeps unraveling. And maybe you're on pins and needles, not wanting it to just keep unraveling, even though it's a slow unravel. You know where this goes and where this heads if you don't fix it, but there's not enough time, or the efforts aren't being made, and it's too comfortable to be in this situation. Maybe that's where you're at. But little by little, one day you'll wake up and there's not going to be anything left. Like I said, sometimes, the woman makes the emotional investment at first, because this is what Tom felt. He felt like she made the effort at first, but then in the second half of the marriage, he was making the effort, and he felt like she was not reciprocating that, or was not doing that. But like I may have said before, sometimes the recognition the man gives, or the acknowledgement of even knowing what's going on, comes a little too late. Too little, too late. Unfortunately, that's something that I think can be identified, or at least you can say they're not wrong. They're not wrong in saying that. That's certainly, people do resonate with that, especially as women. The man comes around a little too late, maybe too much too late. Maybe he does suddenly decide to just love bomb her, and maybe he even means it, but it's just too much too late, which is still too little too late, right? I don't know what, I know there's marriagehelper.com for anyone who's really serious about making the change, doing something that could make a difference, even though you feel it's hopeless. Maybe there's just a glimmer of hope. Marriagehelper.com. Marriagehelper.com. Once again, that's marriagehelper.com for anyone that needs some help. Because the only thing I can do right now, guys, is I'm going to pray. I want to include mainly the people that are in this situation where they're in a separation or heading towards divorce, but I want to include the other people too, that maybe you're in a situation where you need to get out. I want to not include people that are in various situations, but I do feel God's heart is for you, not against you. Even if you were, the offending party in some regard, maybe you cheated on your wife, maybe you cheated on your husband. So I'm not making it one way here. I think there's still hope, and God offers grace. I know your spouse has to offer the same for that to work in certain situations, but I don't think God forces anyone's mind, will, or emotions. But I think there's certain, in spite of my situation not working, even I had like this glory moment where we had a second chance. I'm sad to say it didn't work out, but I'm glad to have had that moment. I mean, I do remember it. Yeah, God has miracle moments, and some of those moments can last the rest of your life. That could be your story. You find a way to make this marriage last, and it could be ongoing, and it could be a lovely story and wouldn't be void of difficulties or problems, but that's the direction I want to go. But I know for the other people, your heart's broken and it's not going to work out. I don't want to proclaim that or profess that or prophesy that. But sometimes you know when you know too, but I don't want to totally void out hope, but maybe some people actually do know. Just want to find a place for you too, and your heart needs comfort. You need to find peace. May God restore your heart. For some people, even the people that need restoration in their marriage, and they are actually both wanting to accomplish that, there's still the restoration of your heart, your hearts. So, God, just give me the words for somebody, anybody that's in this awful situation where it's just lonely as hell, I guess. I know it hurts. I don't feel that moment right now because I think I've moved on, thank God, but I do remember it hurting, like physically in the pit of your stomach. It's that kind of pain where you can feel it physically, and you actually wear sweatpants because you feel more comfort in dressing a certain way, at least in the house. I didn't go out to Walmart that way, but I mean, I think I felt it enough where it even impacted me physically beyond just the emotions. I lost weight. The good side of that is I think for a short time I was even wearing some sizes I hadn't worn in a while, like size, was it 29? Did I make it all the way down to 29? At least maybe 30. At least 30, I think. That part was kind of nice. That maybe lasted pretty short. Maybe not even a year. But yeah, it can impact you physically too. And the whole sleeping can get impacted. So I just want to speak a good sleep over you, good health. You'll find peace in your heart. No matter where this is headed, God's got you. I know it's very cliche sounding, but you have to believe it. And it's more just for your own benefit. There's the people around you. There's people that love you. And you may tell me, well, no, there's nobody. But even then, God is certainly with you, for you, not against you. And I want to say I feel your pain. Maybe it's not totally true. I think I have felt very similar. I have felt very similar, where it feels not so good. Feeling pretty icky feeling. Pretty icky. I don't know how much I'd want to feel that right now, even if I could relate more. It's that bad. Yeah, no thank you. But I do want you to know there is hope. There is a future. I do believe I've been there, and God is with you. I don't have like a super trite answer. It's just one day at a time, and it's, find community if that's something you can do. Probably something you need to do, at least, especially for some types of people. They're going to need the community. They're going to need the support. And Jesus, help us. Yes, Lord. Tom and I are divorced. This sucks. No judgments, just love and prayers. That's a lot what people need. I didn't want to preach at people. Yes, life is hard and none of us live in their shoes. Love and prayers indeed. I am grateful for people's understanding. So, I feel our culture has gotten better in that regard. So there's more empathy, there's more understanding, maybe less judgment in a certain way. In another way, it feels like there's less weight put on the importance of keeping your vows when it's appropriate. And I'm not saying it's appropriate for them, but I admit I have this certain sense that it might have been, but I don't know that for a fact. I really don't. I may have mentioned before, I know he had a family background in his past. He was accustomed, I think, to hearing his mom and dad yelling at each other. Now, he may have brought that into the marriage. He indicated. I mean, no one's perfect. I don't know if that goes beyond the realm of no one's perfect. I mean, I don't know where our culture needs to be in looking at these things, or if we even should be looking at them, right? Is it none of our business? I do admit, though, they made it everyone's business just by posting this video, but she probably had to, because she has this big platform, this big channel, and Tom wasn't going to be a part, at least not on her channel anymore that I'm aware of. I think they continued doing some stuff together for a period of time when they probably were, I don't know, maritally separate. I'm not sure. It must have been. They must have been working together when it was a little more difficult, I am thinking. So, I kind of remember that phase too. That's kind of a difficult one, isn't it? That's pretty awkward. Being in public and you know that you're not together, but yeah, you're kind of functioning a little bit like you are. That is a tough place to be in. And then you get asked a question about church and are you still going to go here? Do you want me to go here? I'm just looking at this from a Christian perspective, a Christian divorce, but it really could be just people that are non-religious too. I'm sure there's many things that are difficult in that context as well. If you loved someone with your whole heart and then it just went up in flames, so to speak. Everything seemed okay until it wasn't. And that's an exaggeration. I know most of us men probably got a warning, but maybe we just didn't take it quite seriously enough. And we just thought everything was going to be okay because it always has been, even with quote unquote warnings about we need to talk or whatever it is. I know people have different comments. I'm sorry to hear it's been such a hard time for you. I appreciate how real you are, even when you must choose to protect your privacy. It is good for us to see people in real situations that suck too, not pretending that our lives should be the only ones that have problems. It is not an easy choice, but I believe you have so many good things coming to you. And you and your family will get through this. I mean, that's all good perspective. And when I said that I think we've maybe lost some of the weight that there is behind the seriousness of keeping your vows, I wasn't trying to say that these comments, like what we're going to read, well, more on the empathy side, are wrong. I think that's appropriate. I don't want to go the other way. I kind of see it from both ways, though. Honestly, it's I don't know. I guess we have to move on with our culture as it is, but God have mercy. We do need some, I don't want to say revival, even though some people would latch onto that word. I think we need something deeper, a deeper sense of renewing what God has promised and what we promised to others in our vows. But that's not at all me saying that you need to put up or shut up. Not at all. As a praying wife who had to make the decision to divorce because it was the best for my children, I send you much love and support. I mean, yeah, I don't want to try to refute comments like that, but I do see it as kind of like the norm. The language has become normative, and when people want a way out, they have it. Socially, it's just become more acceptable, even to the point where maybe when the reason is a little, really not to the point of a valid reason. And I'm not trying to imply her reason isn't valid, but I admit I'm always kind of wondering a little bit. Sometimes I do admit that, because how else am I going to say that? I don't know, guys. But I do appreciate all the thoughtful comments that I see, because if I seen hateful comments, I would be actually more on the offense or defense or whatever, probably offense. We don't need to be like that. Change is hard, the process will be difficult, but you got this. I do pray for both of them as a couple, and I don't know, is it too late? Because did it turn into something it shouldn't have been? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we need to think about these things. God, just do what only you can do. I do feel that the anointing was here in my first video towards the end, but I felt like I could do better, and so I redid the video, and now I can't pull it off again. I'm sorry, guys. I just want to be authentic about that, but I don't want to put up the other video either, because it sucked. And those focused way back there on that plant. Guys, I am serious when I say it breaks my heart just to see so much division. Amicable division, but it's still division. Amicable division, but it's still division. We're just agreeing to disagree, and there's a time and place for that, but that even reaches into our marriages. What is with our hearts, and what could change more than just behavior wise, but it will impact our behavior. God, give us the grace to change, and thank you for the grace to cover a multitude of sins. Thank you for that. I encourage everyone to watch Tom's video. It broke my heart. Don linked his channel, so apparently there's enough amicability where she even linked his channel. Now I heard there's some talk. Well, did Don try to pressure him to remove his video? Because he did make a video too. Did I mention that? I'm getting a little confused because I've made, like I said, this is my second video. It's hard to remember what I said in the first video and what I said in the second video, but he also had his own video, but he did take it down. But like I said before, for all practical purposes, it's still up, because of course the communities here that are interested in this stuff, they latched onto the video, and so they might have her perspective, his perspective. You seem to be genuinely wanting to be respectful. At least it came across that way, right? We know there's got to be something a little like there's a juxtaposition. Let's look up what that even means. What is a juxtaposition? The fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. What's an example of a juxtaposition? Allie's Fair in Love and War. And I just feel like I said before, each person in their own defense, maybe, or maybe offense, have to have so much clarity within their own perspective to make it as authentic and as real and as sincere as it needs to be. But somehow that overlaps or contradicts with the other person's perspective. but perhaps it is the most utmost and the most forthright and the most sincere on both parties. I'm not speaking specifically to Tom, and well, I kind of am. It's just an example though, but even though that's an example that I am specifically pointing to, it kind of serves notice to how we all are in our relationships when it either evolves or devolves to a certain point. We each got our own perspective. Nevertheless, if we didn't, we may be giving into someone else's perspective and losing our own, losing ourselves. There's all these things to consider. Healthy relationship dynamics are very important. I know there's some give and take, but when it's too much, and what can we learn from this? I mean, you don't have to specifically look at them. You can look at your own life, or maybe a friend who went through something might be more personable to you, and you can recognize some issues that resonate a little deeper than just looking at some gossip thing online. Granted, they did put this out there, like I said, so I guess it's fair game, is it? They would expect some lashback, I suppose. But no, regardless, there's the 1 million views and 12,960 comments on this. Tom and I are divorced. This sucks. I know there's lots of debate. Was this just done for monetization? I'm going to say, I personally, I do see maybe the controversy with that, but I guess if I went through a divorce, I mean, if you had a way to monetize it and turn it lemons into lemonade, why not? I guess I would let it be that. Certainly, though, your heart would want to be in a heavy enough place, appropriately so, to just not want to do anything, but that could be unhealthy too. It's like, everything sucks, I'm not going to do any videos. I can understand that perspective too, but this may be better than that. Yeah, I did YouTube, but I don't think I was in a place way back then to talk about my stuff on YouTube, but I'm grateful if people are able to do that and help anybody else, even if it is viewed as a monetary value. Certainly, maybe she'll have another video. It looks to me like she's going to be clarifying more issues that get brought up. That'd probably be how she approaches things, would be my guess, just looking at her personality, and maybe his too. Although he did take his video down, like I said. Just a moment. Because I know anyone listening up to this point is curious where the ministry part's going to be, or what's in it for you. And I don't blame you. What is in it for you? What is in it for me? Or people who seek to understand, if not, we probably can't know the exact dynamics that led to this marital failure, for lack of better words. We know too well that it sucks and it's a hard pill to swallow, but you've got this. Wherever it leads to, whether it's a reconciliation in the future or whether you're going to have to go alone for a bit, God is with you on this journey, and that's all I can tell you. Just, I want you to feel the presence. Yes, yes, yes. I admit I'm a little tired. This video's a little hard for me to do, especially after I already did the first one, and that one took an hour, I won't lie. I feel like if I'm honest in saying that, and just say what's going on, maybe I'm leaving some space for some real presence and real substance here. By presence, I mean the divine presence, Holy Spirit, to reach places that maybe I can't say for sure. Maybe your therapist can't reach. And I want your therapist to reach all the places they can reach. I really do. All I really got is his heart is for you, not against you. And that's regardless of victim versus perpetrator on why the marriage failed. So the person listening to this may find that hard to believe, considering what you know you did or didn't do. So, yeah, he's reaching out. So Jesus is reaching out, and if you can feel his presence, just let that soak in for a moment. I'll give this a few more moments. All right, so I think he's able to speak to you even if you've never considered that relationship dynamic between you and the Lord. His heart is with you, so I think it's a place where you're going to have to just surrender your heart and let him speak. And it may not be what you expect. I mean, it's not, hey, son, you need to do more of this and less of this. I mean, I think it's not like that. I think you might be surprised. So you just open your heart, relax the muscles, stop clenching the jaw, you open your eyes, try to take a breath. And if you wanted to meditate, you probably saying, oh, just go to, I don't know, a meditation class or something. But no, this is a little different. So God is speaking to your heart in ways that I can't. I'm not always able to come up with the right scenario for the right person. I just know you're hurting. That's all I need to know. You know you're hurting. You probably wish you didn't know that. I wish I didn't have to feel some of that back when I was going through all that. Just didn't want to. I mean, yeah, they gave you Prozac for some of that stuff. I think I went on the lowest dose, like 10 milligrams or something. 5, then maybe 10. Then I got off of it, okay? I went through some stuff. But the grace of God is there with you. Some of you, I'm not giving medical advice, but some of you, don't listen to me. I'm not giving medical advice, okay? Go to your doctor, seek a professional. But some of you may need to think about getting off Prozac or whatever it is you're taking for the depression. In my instance, I actually decided to get on it for a time. I did, and do what you need to do in that regard. So I'm not telling you not to, but I don't want to encourage this environment where we just keep turning to mind-altering substances It's not my heart at all. Excuse me. It's not my heart at all that it be that way. But I do feel if you're so heavy and so distraught, I'm not want to put you in a situation where you don't feel free to do what you need to do, like go seek a professional or whatever. Because I know it's heavy. It's so heavy, you know. I feel like using profanity just to express it adequately, but it still wouldn't be adequate enough. Even if I said bleep, 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 it still wouldn't cut the mustard on this. Cut the mustard. Oh my gosh. Jesus, you know the burdens people are carrying, especially as it relates to marriage, divorce, separation, anxiety about all that stuff. God, bring peace to their hearts, all the turmoil, all the trauma, even situations where people don't want to call it trauma because it just seems, oh, it's not trauma, but it is. For some of you it is, and you haven't identified it as such because you're too strong of a man or a woman to admit that's what it is. Identify it for what it is. Let God minister to that place because he loves you, and he is willing to do that. More than willing. It's not like he's willing. He's waiting. He wants to. He's opening your heart even now. So it's not like this is a struggle where I'm trying to convince you. He's ministering to your heart now, and forgive me for not getting it right. Forgive me for not getting it right. I just know the pain. Now I need to know the ministry the Lord's heart has towards your heart, and that there is a hope, there is a future. He sees the hopelessness within your heart, but he's filling your heart, even though you don't feel it right now, perhaps. Yes. Yes, Lord. Thank you for touching people. People that believe in you, people that don't believe in you, people who are about to believe in you, people that were in ministry, ministering to this exact same thing, and their marriage still fell apart for whatever reason. Even life coaches, marriage counselors, the irony, it's there. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It does happen. Sorry it took so long for me to get to this point, but it took what it took. Even though it was right there when I ended the last video. May his presence go before you. May you feel his presence overwhelm that whole hopeless feeling. Whatever it is, I can't speak to every situation, but I can speak to those who are encountering that sense of despair. Like, even if you know there's hope, it's so heavy right now that it's like hope itself is like a disdain, because it's like, no, this moment right now sucks so bad. I don't even care about the hope. Even if it's guaranteed 24 hours from now, right now it sucks so bad. Can we deal with the now? And I get that. Can we deal with the now? And for some of you, the answer is yes. Yes. In fact, yes. And yes again. 3 times yes. He is dealing with that thing right now. And I don't want to be like promising it's like a magic wand or anything like that. But for some of you, it's so heavy, and he knows you're about to do something stupid. So trust me, that God is with you. It's not. But just please seek professional help. I don't want to put myself out there like I'm the answer here or something like that. So there's that space that's created for peace. So this isn't the peace itself per se, but there's that space that's being created. If you think about peace, if you slow your breath a little bit, relax. Oh, even I was tense, even trying to minister to you, to be honest, just a little bit tense, because I wanted to I want to reach this painful place that's inside your, no, it's like, I don't need to do that right now. Even I need to take a breather. Stretch if you have to. Listen, your jaw that's clenching, your teeth together. Oh, yeah. Wow. Man, the pressure that's on people, even people trying to minister to other people. It's amazing how uptight we get. We don't need to be, but we feel like there's more energy if we tighten our muscles and focus more. Even I was trying to do the relaxed thing, but truly I wasn't relaxed like I should have been. So forgive me for that, but I'm not perfect. A little essential oil here. Well, I feel there has been a time of ministry. I admit I don't feel like I wanted it to be like this thing that knocked me over and I was on the floor or something. That would be awesome, but I couldn't change the camel angle. There's something in that. I know some of you, perhaps, this may be harsh, but some of you have been so arrogant. You've been riding like the hump of a camel, up high and mighty, like a high horse, and now you got knocked off on your ass, so to speak. And then, I'm not saying you're totally proud and arrogant. I think there's plenty of humility in you, but in regards to your marriage, you thought you had it covered, and you're finding out you didn't. And I know that's knocking you on your behind. We'll try to clean up the language. Yeah, look, God's right there too. Even if you know it was you, God's right there too. It both matters and doesn't matter. It matters that you know and realize and recognize your pride, your arrogance, and maybe not taking things with enough weight. But maybe some of you took on too much weight in some regard, and the responsibility was all yours, and just maybe more where it is for some of you, really. And you took all this weight on, and it still failed. It's like, where do you go with some of this stuff? I don't know, just give me a moment here. My heart is to really speak the truth. The truth sometimes is we just don't know. We just don't know, but we know the love of God. And that's all that matters, but that's a little too cliche because I know we have responsibilities, but no, take it back. It's all that matters. And from that place, it's like a tree of life buds forth, but there's some watering, some gardening. But guys, I think I will end the video because it's not all on me to fix these issues. And it's not all on you either to fix the issues. I mean, be cooperative with the process. God's laying it on your heart to apologize. If your heart needs to be softened, let it be softened. But yes, guys, there's not going to be I'm not saying there won't be a supernatural release here, but it's not going to be like you see on TV. But it'll be like you've never experienced before. You could put it that way. Without the hype and the fluff that kind of accompanies some of that stuff. You're getting it here for free. I'm not begging for anything. That being said, I don't want to discredit anything I've said here because I think it's all real, very real and valid, but I think I have to say to some extent you need to seek professional help, and that's valid too. That's really valid. Get the help that you need. Don't give up. I mean, I'm not speaking specifically to trying to go to bat for a relationship. I mean, don't give up on life in general, even if the relationship falls flat. Don't you fall flat. So get up. I know you're kind of crumbled up on the ground in the fetal position, maybe some of you, not all of you. Some of you are too strong for that, right? Perhaps. Maybe you kept yourself together, and I commend you for that. Your demeanor has been outstanding through this whole process, and not everyone's like that, so I commend you. And for those who have taken it hard, just know that your heart really did love, so there's that too. With that, I think I'll release myself of this idea of, and I'm glad I made the effort to minister, and from the place of grace, yet honesty. Well, yeah, I can't keep going with this video. I'm thankful though that I was able to do what I did here, and I pray that Tom and Don will, I'm not sure what path they'll continue going on, but it looks like it's to each their own individual path and their own success in raising their kids. I pray that's an all amicable situation there. That's what they're dealing with, and that's what was chosen. So, and may the community be supportive of that, since that's the route that's been taken. And yeah, we want to make sure, even though we realize the weight of divorce and how much God hates it, and it really has an impact on society in general, that we don't fall into like the stereotype of people throwing rocks, or even scriptures that try to make people feel like they should line up. If there's a scripture that someone needs to find, I just pray that they find it. Fall on the rock is better than the rock falling on you, in other words. So if we need to find kind of a hard truth, I pray God will lead it to you gently, but still it's a hard truth, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like I'll repeat that. So if there is a hard truth that you, or whatever couple there is that's on your mind, maybe you're actually thinking more of another couple. My dad took divorce so seriously. It wasn't him that's getting divorced, but a friend. He got a headache and laid down, I think maybe for a good share of the day. I mean, he took it pretty seriously. Yeah. So I appreciate their honesty. I appreciate people's transparency, and certainly don't want to create an environment where people feel like they have to protect themselves and be less transparent. That's important too, because we know there's going to be opinions and different ways of looking at things. I seem to kind of rotate around the whole spectrum as I try to go full circle, and I realize the hurt divorce causes not only the couple but the kids, but then people are going to say, well, it was worse to be married than for the kids to experience all that trauma, and you're not wrong. Okay, you're not wrong. And in some cases, I think I'm putting that a little under me saying you're right, because maybe that's not always right. That's always the go-to statement though, and it's not wrong. Okay, I do admit that. And yeah, I'm a person who initiated divorce myself, so I'm not coming from a place of you can never divorce. I'm not saying it's always right. I've seen a lot of people do it, and a lot of people in ministry do it. I'm just saying what I'm able to say here, and I already spent like probably over an hour saying it. So peace be with you. I didn't mean to say anything that would cause your heart to be troubled. I just want you to understand where we are as a community. And I'm grateful for our empathy and our love and our understanding. But with that understanding, sometimes comes a lack of understanding also of just how serious and intense a society we are as it relates to having it our way. Ooh, ouch. That's a harsh way to put it though, but I do think we try to make things work, but there's a problem. I don't know what it is. This may not serve as the right example even. I mean, it seems to sometimes with some certain people's viewpoints. You could point at me if you wanted to, because I'm divorced 2 times. If that helps you be more resilient and you're not going to end up like me, that's fine. Do it. As long as you're not putting yourself in danger or in a place where you're being made small, belittled. I'm not trying to put anyone in an actual abusive situation. So sorry this happened, Don. Divorce is hard, but living in an unsustainable way is impossible. I'm glad you found the quote-unquote line and are able to cross over it with dignity and grace, not only for yourself, but for the kids and for Tom, which will help the kids enormously. Praying for healing for you and your family. I think that's a pretty good response. I realize it almost contradicts what I just said, but honestly, I think that is a good response. And I know our Christian communities and non-religious communities kind of share some of those sentiments, and I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. You're going to hear my butt coming up next, but we've normalized that, and we have, but if we haven't normalized it, we'd probably be bashing people going through divorce, and I don't know, where do you go with this stuff? It's like, I'll just keep talking in circles, and you know exactly what I'm saying, I hope. There's this, and there's that, and what do we do with it? You decide, because I'm not trying to be right, I'm just trying to bring out some clarifications. There's this clarification of us needing to walk in empathy, understanding, grace, humility, not yelling at people, not pointing the finger. So we got that clarity, but did we lose some clarity in this other realm where we've taken our vows too lightly? That's what I'm saying. And then in addition to that, there's the clarity of this person versus the clarity of this person. And if we would listen to each of their stories, we would each gain clarity, but then there's one person's view and we think we maybe understand it better. But then we listen to the other person's view and maybe it's now even more confusing because, hey, that view looks pretty legitimate too. I mean, that's valid. You know, I'm kind of seeing this full circle. That's why I'm willing to listen to both sides in most cases. I mean, sometimes a man punches his wife in the face. Maybe, not even maybe, that's it. I mean, that's she can file for divorce, I guess, you know? There's no getting around that. And typically, I know in a lot of those situations, I do think the guy actually does get a second chance. Probably less and less, but actually, I don't know. I think in many abusive situations, to my surprise, those are tolerated. And that's amazing that gets tolerated. Even more so than just maybe someone who's got some lighter issues to work through. There's just a whole host of issues that impact marriage. Alcoholism, money issues, verbal abuse, actual physical abuse. Lord, be with all these situations, even the worst of them, if you want to actually reconcile and heal people so that issue no longer even exists. That would be awesome. I know full too well, though, I do want people to change, and I do believe that people can change, in fact. Well, we kind of know the track record nowadays, or at least we think we do, right? But there are miraculous stories, and I do want to believe that some people can change, even from the hardest hearts and the most provocative things you've ever heard. It doesn't mean that you want to just allow yourself to be a doormat and let's give this another try before it's even time to try that. No, don't do that. Don't be stupid, and don't be vulnerable to that point where you're just basically committing suicide at that point. So I'm not asking anyone to put themselves in a dangerous situation or not seek professional help as needed. All right, I think I finally got to a point where I can end this video for like the 4th time or something. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please do leave a comment, because I did put quite a bit of effort into sharing. Looks like this went on for longer than just an hour, like an hour and a half this time. Jesus, I thank you that you're able to put some, I don't know, I can't say you really put the words in my heart. I can't say that he didn't, though. I don't know where all this came from. I'm hoping it wasn't all just me. At least some of it was inspired by just the desire to be aligned with Holy Spirit and what he may have to say. I don't know if he wants the credit for this or not, because I don't know how good or bad it is or how indifferent. I think some of it, perhaps we got some neo listening skills. I think I can hear at least in part, because we prophesy in part, that scripture. We prophesy in part. Is it that we hear in part? I don't remember what it says. Just quick look that up. I keep touching that. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. Let's look up 1 Corinthians 13 really fast. Because we know that's the love chapter, and maybe that's what's kind of lacking in today's society. Not that people don't give it their best love that they have. If I speak, 1 Corinthians 13, if I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Excuse me. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. All right, so I think that's a good place to end the video. This time for real. So I think I went over this before, but if you feel like this has reached your heart in any capacity, please do leave a comment. And if you want to like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. I think you see the effort I put into this, and I'd appreciate any support, but we're not going there right now. I'm just going to throw that out there as briefly as possible. I hope your heart was touched and you were ministered to. And I don't use that word lightly because I kind of dislike the word actually, but maybe for you that's what this is. Your heart was ministered to. So thanks for letting me know. It kind of helps support my endeavor here to reach out. So thank you, and we will see you in the next video. God bless you.